So I was going to come in today and tell you that a Democrat has a chance to defeat a Republican in the state of Montana. But if I told you that, it wouldn't be accurate because it's not that a Democrat has a chance to defeat a Republican in Montana. The truth is that a Democrat is leading by 7 against a Republican in Montana. This is a really, really big deal. We'll talk about Montana, then we'll apply it a little bit broadly. In 2016, Donald Trump won Montana 56-36 over Hillary Clinton, 20-point win in that state. In 2014, Republican Steve Daines won his Senate race over Amanda Curtis, also by a big margin, by 18, 58-40. But incumbent Republican Senator Steve Daines, who won in 2014, is currently down 7 to Steve Bullock in the very red state of Montana. Steve Bullock is the current governor of Montana. According to the new Montana State University poll released yesterday, he is ahead by 7 against the incumbent Republican senator. Now, if the name Steve Bullock sounds familiar, it should. Not just because he's the current governor, but he also was not particularly successful, but he was in the 2020 Democratic primary race for a little while and even was in at least one debate. I don't remember now exactly how many debates, but he was in at least one debate, I think. We've been talking about the Senate balance in 2020, and Democrats need to have a net gain of 3 seats plus the presidency, or a net gain of 4 seats if Trump gets reelected to take control of the Senate. Now, what does that mean? Why does that matter whether Trump wins or loses? If you have a Senate that's 50-50, the tiebreaker is the vice president. Of course, if the tiebreaker is Mike Pence, that doesn't go Democrats' way. So if Trump were to get reelected, Democrats would need to get to 51 seats. If Biden wins, they only need to get to 50. So we're assuming, and I believe that it's a fair assumption, that Democrats are going to lose the Doug Jones seat in Alabama. That's the special election seat. It used to be Jeff Sessions' Senate seat. Jeff Sessions was made Donald Trump's beleaguered attorney general. So that seat was up for special election. Doug Jones won against the Republican nominee, who was serial accused sex assaulter Roy Moore. Now, Jeff Sessions is trying to win his old seat back, and he's winning very, very handily in the polling in Alabama. So there's every indication Democrats are going to lose that seat in Alabama. So to net 3, you've got to find 4 wins. To net 4, you've got to find 5 wins because you're going to lose that 1 seat. So what are we looking at? Arizona. We've talked about Arizona before. Mark Kelly against the incumbent Republican Martha McSally. She is in the seat previously held by John McCain, the late John McCain. She's not won any election. She was appointed there. Maine. Sarah Gideon is doing well against longtime incumbent Senator Susan Collins, a Republican who's often disappointed with Trump, but eventually sides with him. In Colorado, Cory Gardner is not doing particularly well. In North Carolina, Tom Tillis could lose, which would be great. But now with the addition of Montana, this adds a new element. Now, a few caveats on the 7-point lead that Steve Bullock has in Montana. Number one, it's 46-39. So it's a 7-point lead, but 46 plus 39 is only 85. That leaves 15 up in the air. And sometimes that breaks for the incumbent. So that's one caveat. One of the reasons that Bullock is doing well in Montana is that as the current governor, as I told you, he's done really well with coronavirus. He has a 70% approval on his handling of coronavirus, only a 48% approval for the incumbent Senator Steve Daines in terms of his handling of coronavirus. Of course, governors and senators have different roles in the context of coronavirus. 2020 could quickly become Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's worst nightmare if some of these races go the Democrats' way, but it's up to us to make it so. We need to get out and vote and not assume any single race in any state. Now, I have other outrageous news from Montana as well. There is hypothetical presidential polling being done. I guess at this point, it's not really hypothetical in the sense that Joe Biden's the only candidate left. Trump is only ahead by 5 in the presidential polling against Joe Biden in Montana. Remember, in 2016, Trump beat Hillary by 20 in Montana. Now, admittedly, Libertarian Gary Johnson got 5 points in Montana in 2016. So maybe that these numbers need to be adjusted for that. But this is a big swing. Call it a 10-point swing, call it a 15-point swing. If indeed Donald Trump only wins Montana by 5, it would be a very bad November for Donald Trump. Does it pass the sniff test that Trump is only up 5 in Montana? I don't know. I honestly don't know. These are early numbers anyway. We shouldn't be assuming anything. There's much to work for. But the Senate, which a year ago, look, 2 years ago, I was saying Democrats don't really have a chance in November of 2020 for the Senate. 1 year ago, I was saying it's possible, but it's a big uphill battle. 6 months ago, I was saying it's possible. Now, this is a real possibility. I don't think it's likely. I still think if I had to bet, I would say you got to give me odds to bet on Democrats in taking the Senate. But there is now a very clear path, and it is not a wholly unrealistic path. Democrats would need a couple of these races to go against the incumbent in the end. That can be tough, but a lot of good races to get involved in and really great numbers out of Montana. We'll keep following it.